wonderful friends out there. My name is Nana Osei Bonsu Jr. of Afriwick International Organization and Seto Leadership International. This is Leadership Academy. Once again, I want to welcome you to the year 2020. As I said in the last video, this year we're going to be delving more deep into issues and take certain or learn certain principles and steps to be able to transform our lives in order to be able to transform our community, because it is very, very important. We as Africans especially would always be blaming our leaders. We were blaming certain attitudes and certain attributes and certain qualities, so to speak, of our fellow Africans. And sometimes we seem not to understand why people behave the way they behave, or sometimes we seem not to understand why our community is the way it is, or sometimes we seem not to understand why, even though money is being pumped into our continent, there seem not to be any progression the way we expected. You know, one thing we have to understand, and I've been saying this over and over, and I want to reiterate, one of the most important and powerful organs in the human body is the mind. The brain is one of the most powerful and important organ in the human being or in the human body. The brain is basically the control room of our human body. Whatever goes on in the brain is what we manifest. So it is important that we take charge of the brain. We take charge of what goes on in the brain, the processes of things going on in the brain. It is very important. And today we're going to be talking about how to acquire wisdom. How to acquire wisdom. The good book says that wisdom is a principal thing, therefore get wisdom. But in all of you get understanding. And one of the ways you can only get understanding is to develop a curious mind. To develop a curious mind. You know what? Any generation or a people who refuses to develop its generation or its people to be curious and to ask questions is an illiterate generation, and they are doomed. Yes, and I want to repeat this. Any generation that refuses to develop or groom its people or its generation to be curious or to develop what we will call an inquisitive mind, that generation is setting itself up for failure and is doomed. Yes. Because you know what? Wisdom does not come by chance. And sometimes we begin to think, when we see people, wise people, we begin to ask, how do they become wise? Sometimes we begin to wonder, and sometimes we conclude as Africans, we always find the easy way, the shortcut, and we conclude by saying this is a gift from God. Yes, it could be, it is a gift from God, but everybody has that gift. Everybody has that gift. And today we're going to learn the steps by which we would develop that gift to be wise. Because it is very paramount if we want to be successful in life, if we want to see progress in Africa, if we want to see development in Africa, then we got to develop that gift to be wise as a people, not just as some small individual groupings, but as a people, as a whole. So, one of the things we're going to be talking about is developing a curious mindset. You see, we cannot change anything. You cannot do anything different until you begin to change your mindset. It's the truth. is the hard truth we can't do anything about. Sometimes we wish there's a shortcut or there's an alternative for us to be able to move forward without changing our mindset, but we can't. That is the principle of life. If you really want to progress, if you really want to do something new, you first have to change your mindset. And that is what is hurting our continent. We've been held hostage by certain principles. I don't even want to call them principles. Well, you can call them principles because there could be negative principles as well. But we've been held hostage by certain cliches, by certain kind of thinking. Sometimes I ask myself, who introduced these kinds of thinking into our system? So our problem as Africans is not magical. We don't need any magic to solve our problem. Listen to me carefully, and I know some people might get this wrong. We don't need prayers to solve our problem. Prayers has its place. Prayer has its place. I want to reiterate that fact. But our problem is not an issue of prayer. So somebody might be asking, if it is an issue of prayer, why are we where we are today? Because I believe that Africans pray a lot. I believe that Africans pray a lot. But it's not an issue of prayer. It is not magical. It is just a matter of principles we are refusing to follow. Well, I wouldn't even say we are refusing to follow, but principles that we don't even understand to follow or to cultivate. And that is why we keep running around in circles. That is why the international community would donate trillions of dollars into the African economy, and it still cannot move Africa to the next level. And you see, the powers that be know. That is why they quickly and easily will give us the money, because they know that is not the solution to the problem. But guess what? They don't want us to have the solution to our problems. So I just want to encourage us to pay attention to what we're about to discuss today, because it is very vital and very important. Changing our mindset, it is not an easy thing to do. If you get the opportunity, find this book, The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson, and you would understand that the power of the mind or the power of the brain. So please, we would have to pause everywhere we are. I would wish that the nations would pause, the whole continent will pause, the families will pause, individuals will pause, and begin to think, start thinking. Let us use our minds. The mind is given to us to be put into use, and we're not doing that. The mind is what moves a people. The mind is what moves a whole nation. The mind is what moves a community. So, one of the things we are talking about today is how to get wisdom. How to get wisdom. And in order to get wisdom, you first need understanding. And in order for you to gain understanding, you have to develop a curious mind, an inquisitive mind. In other words, let us begin to question everything. Anything we don't understand, let us not relinquish them to the background or relinquish them to spirituality. Let us begin to question them. It is very critical. If we refuse to question stuff, we will never gain understanding. And if we don't gain understanding, we would not gain wisdom and we would always be taken advantage of. So it is very vital that we begin to develop an inquisitive mindset. Let us raise our children to ask questions. Let us encourage our children to ask questions. Why this? Why that? Why this? Even if you as a parent, you don't know, it behooves on you as a parent to begin to also look for the answers for your children, because that is the only way by which Africa will move forward. When we begin to change our mindset, when we begin to understand certain things, it will bring us wisdom, and then our actions will begin to change. Don't be amazed. Please don't be amazed at what is going on, because I hear people saying, I really don't understand what's going on in Africa. I really don't understand our people. I really don't understand what's going on. It is because we think a certain way. We don't question things. We're not curious as a people. We don't have an inquisitive mind. Today, I just want to encourage you. Let us begin to have or develop that curiosity. Let us begin to question everything and anything we don't understand. Let us not think everything is spiritual. Let's begin to use our brains, our minds, because it is very powerful. That is the only way by which we can transform our continent, when we transform our minds. Because that is our stronghold right now. What is preventing Africa from moving forward to the next level is not money. What is preventing Africa from moving to the next level is not the white man. What is preventing Africa from moving to the next level is not the powers that be. What is preventing Africa from moving to the next level is nobody but our mindset. That is the only thing holding us. Sometimes you hear certain cliches within our community and you ask yourself, who introduced this to our community? Let's begin to think. Let's begin to ask questions. Develop that curiosity to know, to dig into things, to ask all the questions, the whys. That is the only way. That is the only way we can transform our lives. By transforming our mindset, our thinking, the way we think. If we begin to see issues or problems as we being the solutions to those problems, we would always find solutions. But when we begin to see problems as problems presented to destroy us, we would never find solution to them. And I can assure you, every problem on earth has a solution. Somebody, somewhere has a solution. Every problem, not some problems, every problem we face as humanity, as a people, they all have solutions. I will solve one of it or some of it. You will solve some of it. Another person will solve some of it. That is when we develop that mindset, that curious mindset, to begin to look into things, probe into things. When we're confronted with issues, questions, let's dig deeper, find out, what can I do? What gift do I have to solve this problem? That is the only way by which we will transform Africa and transform our community, our beautiful continent, to be that which it was meant to be. Let us develop an inquisitive mindset. Ask questions. Don't just take anything handed down to you. Don't just accept any statement made to you when you don't understand and you fail to ask questions. And sometimes we spiritualize them, thinking that we cannot solve this problem. It has to be handled by the Spirit. forgetting that we are spirit beings living in these ethnic bodies. So if there are any issues or any problems that needs to be answered or that needs to be solved by spirits, it means it needs to be solved by human beings, because we are spirits. So today it's going to be the part one of how to acquire wisdom, or how to develop wisdom by gaining understanding. And how to gain understanding is by developing a curious or an inquisitive mind. Let us begin to question the status quo. Let us begin to question some of the cliches. Let us begin to question things we don't understand. And as we ask the whys, we analyze issues, we dig into them, and we come up with a better solution. Thank you for taking your time to listen to us. We are going to continue on part 2 on how to acquire wisdom. And again, this is Leadership Academy. I want to encourage you to share this video. I want to encourage you to encourage your friends, your family, your loved ones to listen to this video. I want to encourage you to post it, like it. As a matter of fact, let us share it so we can start the discourse. Yes, because we believe in discussing issues. We believe in discourse, dialogue, because that is the only way by which we would develop that curiosity or the inquisitive mindset to be able to transform our lives as a people and transform our community as a whole. Once again, thank you and God bless you. Shalom.